All right, Alvin. So welcome to the show, my friend.
And thank you guys for having me. I'm so glad to be here. It's an honor. Truly
Awesome. So
is.
I always like to start with real basic, and then we'll chase this wherever it goes. And that is to, after your 38 years, and by the way, I love talking with someone who has me beat finally in the years in the business. I love it. So with your 38 years, maybe take us behind the green curtain a little bit, just to how'd you land there? You know, the how, what, when, and why you get into real estate.
Well, I needed to eat, honestly. I didn't go to college, and I started right out of high school in the trades as a painter's helper. And from being a painter's helper, that led me all the way into the field of construction, general contracting. Then that led me into having a couple of mortgage companies. And then that led me into a place of needing to do something different. so so I went to volunteer for a guy that has 16,000 units when I was 43 years old, and I knew that I needed some mentors in my life, and I needed a family mentor, a Christian mentor. I needed a business guy to lead me, guide me. My life had fallen apart, and this guy took me in, man, and treated me like a son, and showed me behind the curtains of $1.5 billion company.
Wow.
And when he died in a car wreck, I became the president of that deal and unwound it through a bankruptcy. And of course, when that bankruptcy was final, I had an opportunity to take Hope Housing Foundation, and the board hired me, and we put together a plan to go do some great work in affordable housing and market rate housing about 10 years ago, and here I am. It's been
Love it.
a lot of ups and downs and tenacity, but when you figure out you can't quit, then you just keep going.
Yeah, Alvin, you said something interesting. You said that you went into a mentorship at about 43 years old. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. So I love where your head's at because a lot of people and a lot of listeners would think that you typically would get into a mentorship when you're real young. You talked about kind of your apprenticeship, but then to think that you're going to get into a mentorship at about 43 years old in order to take yourself to the next level, maybe bring us back to that thought process because I'm sure you could have just kept doing what you were doing and maybe had a successful life, but it seemed as though the light bulb went off that you need to focus and up level yourself. So you kind of speak to that.
Well, I could have always gone back and started back in the mortgage business. This was like 2007 and 8, when we all had some challenges in that space. And I knew I wanted more. And the only way I was going to get more was to put myself in the room. And my friend Steve, that's his name, he met with me and told me that he would help me. He answered, and then after that meeting, he answered my call for 3 weeks, and he told me, "Hey, man, I'll do anything to help you." So he quit answering my call after 3 weeks, and I kept calling for about a year, calling and calling and calling and emailing and smoke signals. And finally, he got tired of me calling and said, "Alvin, man, I've never seen anybody that says they want it as bad as they exhibit that they want it. And because of that, you can come and spend 30 days with me." Well, that 30 days, he said, "Well, what are you going to do? Today's your 30th day." And I told him I wasn't going to leave unless he was sending me home. So I went there with the intent of sharpening his pencil and shining his shoes to make him better because I knew I needed what he had. And because he didn't send me home, that 13 months led me to what I believe to be a great career and a fulfilling for why God left me here.
I love it. I guess what comes to mind for me with that, Alvin, is I'd ask you to give a nugget or two directly to the listeners, the wicked smart listeners, who, for whatever reason, I don't care if they're in their 20s or their 50s, they haven't made the step to mentorship yet or coach yet or any of that yet, despite us screaming about it nonstop, because I'm a big advocate. Zach is, you are clearly. What do you say to them? What's an actionable item or nugget you could say to them to get them off their butt, so to speak?
Well, I'll tell you that the old adage is we're average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So if you look around your circle and see who you spend the most time with, do those 5 people equal the life that you want to have? If it does not, then I would implore you or anyone listening to figure out what you want to do and then, man, we've got YouTube University, we've got that'll get you so far. I understand everybody doesn't have a lot of resources, But I heard a guy say the other day, if you can't afford the education that you need, you don't have a money problem, you have an idea problem. Because if you've got a fantastic idea, somebody will definitely invest in you, with you, into that idea that will bring it to fruition. So a lot of times it's a lack of thinking, a lack of self-confidence, and those two things only come through doing things repeatedly to get better. And I think that comes through mentorship and following somebody and learning what they're doing and really digging in. You can't do anything part-time, half-hearted and think you're gonna be great at it. That's my opinion.
I totally agree with you, Alvin. Like, let's say somebody is looking for a mentor, just because we're going down this rabbit hole for a minute here. How did you seek out, how did you find this wonderful man, Steve, or Steven, in order to, and then get involved in his life? So maybe start there. That way people can at least have a direction on how to find mentors.
That's great. I'll tell you, he was introduced to me by a mutual friend. A appraiser friend of mine knew that so what happened, I had started a nonprofit about 7 years ago, prior to meeting him, because I wanted to learn how to give my education through my mortgage and through the mortgage industry away to people so that they could buy homes. And my ultimate goal was to sell more houses. And I was going to do that through the HUD Dollar Home Program, or the First Look program, where nonprofits can actually get all of HUD REOs at 50% off of face value for the first 90 days when they hit the market. So from that relationship, my appraiser buddy knew that I had a nonprofit and wanted to do good, and Steve had a nonprofit. So there was a mutual connection there. But I'll tell you, one of the guys that has become one of my best friends now sought me out because he was a mitigation contractor in Atlanta, and his ultimate goal was to own 1,000 units of apartments. So he got on the internet and Googled contractors who own multifamily apartments, and I came up. And he picked up the phone and called me off of LinkedIn. So there's all kind of ways to find exactly what you need. If you know what you want, you'll find it. Double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, right? So if you don't know if you want to go left or right or up or down, you're not going to go anywhere. But if you know that I want to own apartments, then you'll seek somebody out that owns apartments. If you know you want to flip houses, you'll find somebody that flips houses that resonates with you and speaks your language.
So I guess, Zach, unless you have a follow-up, I'm kind of thinking to fast forward now and give us a day of Alvin now. Like, what's it look like now for you? What's your main focus? And that'll tell us kind of skip to the end of the journey here and tell us kind of what's next too.
My daily activities, a lot of phone calls right now. I'm talking to investors. We're raising capital, talking to our architects and engineers because we're planning several developments. I'm talking to a couple of brokers. We've got a land contract being put together for a deal in Calabash, North Carolina, putting together a deal for Fort Worth, Texas for 12 acres, putting together a deal for Fort Worth for 87 acres. So just a lot of phone calls. Every now and then I get the opportunity to go to one of our sites that we are in the process of. We still own about 1,000 units. We're in the process of renovating and refinancing those. So we did the burst strategy on those deals, bought them, rehabbed them, rented them, refinanced them. This is the second refi we've done on these 4 properties in the last 6 years. So we're pulling out more money doing that. So, man, I start about 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. A lot of days I get home about 7 or 8 o'clock at night if I'm lucky. Some days I get home earlier, but for the most part, that's what I'm doing. So my family understands right now, my friends understand right now that everything I'm doing is to get to a goal of 20,000 units in the next 5 years. And if my conversations do not correlate with that mission, then I probably don't have them. And everybody understands that it's not a selfish mission, but it is a selfish mission because if I don't focus on it, it won't happen. But it's not selfish, but because it includes so many other people. It includes all kind of strategic partnerships to make this happen. So that's my day.
Well, I'm glad that you dove into your day because there's so many people that are listening to this, our Wicked Smart listeners, that have aspirations of reaching these high level goals. And and really what you're talking about there is you're talking about commitment and discipline, because you're not having conversations with people, which I'm sure other than your family, that are not conducive to moving you towards your goal. So speak to, because it sounds like that's a big part of your life, has been this commitment and discipline, even going back to when you were talking about calling Steve every day, basically for 30 days, and so on. So, can you speak to the listeners about how important commitment and discipline is, and how that's played into your success?
Well, man, it's really, really important, Zach, because if like going to college, I don't know if you went to college, but if you did and you were not committed, you probably didn't stay there, right? It's like getting married. If you are not committed, it probably won't last. So I'm not as, maybe I am. Maybe there's some form of discipline in me because I keep doing those kind of things that help me. But in other areas of my life, I'm not as disciplined as I think I want to be. So in speaking to all of our listeners, I really believe that we all battle that. You know, the things we should do, we do not want to do or don't do. And the things we should do, maybe they get done, maybe they don't. Um, but it comes down to, okay, I'm at my age, I'm 56. And realistically, I know I'm gonna live to be about 100 years old. I'll probably have another 25 or 30 great years of being agile like I am. So when I'm 80, I'll look like I'm 50. And I know that. But do I want to come to the office every day at 80 years old? No, I don't. So I'll just keep doing the hard things today so that I can do the easy things tomorrow. You know, my pastor always says, man, it's so easy. It's so hard to get up at 4 in the morning and go to the gym and eat right. But it's so hard to be 500 pounds if we don't do that. And I'm not saying that flippantly or to offend anybody, but it's the harsh truth, right? So we just have to choose our heart, and that's it.
Zach, I think before we dive deeper, do you guys want to address Clubhouse Live a little bit, you and Alvin?
Yeah, there's two things I definitely want to cover on this, and that was Clubhouse Live, because I'd love to dig into your brain on how you kind of created this animal, and then I also want to talk about multifamily monopoly as well. So let's start with Clubhouse Live. So all of our listeners, Alvin and I connected and have connected with so many great people on this app called Clubhouse, which if you're not on it, I highly recommend you jump on it, because we've talked about mentorship, and is an amazing resource to get free mentorship on a daily basis. So it's an audio drop-in app that you can just get on your iPhone or Android now. And what Alvin does, he actually took it a step further. He took it from online to offline and is now running the second event, the Clubhouse Live 2.0. So speak to the audience about, because this is going to be released ahead of time, and we're one of your main sponsors, so we definitely want to help drive as many people there as possible for you, Alvin, as well. So speak to what's going on at Clubhouse Live.
Well, man, I'll tell you I've been on Clubhouse since early December and through, I guess, the first part of January. So, 45 days in, everybody was still recovering from the holidays and COVID and all of that stuff. And here we're spending 10, 12, 18 hours a day on this app while I'm at work, while I'm driving, everything, and just develop some great relationships and friendships there. And, you listen to enough people that talk real estate, you know who's talking about some things that resonate with you and kind of what their experience level. And from there, I decided one day, I said, man, it'd be great if we could get 10 or 15 of these people together right after the new year to talk about some goals for 2021. So I brought it up and 15 people or so were interested, and then 20 people or so got interested, and then, oh, well, I want to come. It was 50 people interested at that point. And then I said, well, man, somebody around me, it wasn't me, said, we ought to just do an event. And I'm like, I'm not a public speaker. I've never done an event. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's COVID, it's this. And they said, no, man, we need to do this. So it wasn't me. It was all of the smart people around me that said, man, this is a great opportunity. Let's do it. So we planned this event. I prayed that we would have 100 people show up. If 100 people show up, man, it will only cost me about $35,000 to have this party. So that's how I was going to pay for it. Don't know. We were going to figure it out. But turns out about 150, 60 people paid and came, and it was a dynamic experience. a dream come true for me. I was talking to one of my buddies yesterday that I've never seen myself as a public speaker or ever wanting to do anything like that. But yet, 7 years ago, almost to the day, or in July, I went and took a John Maxwell certification course on speaking and coaching and mentoring and public speaking. And the picture that I took at that training event had me with a microphone in my hand on the stage, and I looked in my mind at that and what Clubhouse Live has become and went, wow. So why did I say that? I said that because it was all just a dream. And I got with the 20 other really smart, dope people that had their own following and said, hey guys, let's do this together and make something great happen. And they all bought in because nobody would have showed up to the Alvin Johnson show. But because it's Clubhouse Live with 20, 25 speakers, and it had, I think we had about 15 speakers the first time. We went to 20 or so this time, and now we've incorporated great guys like you, Zach, that said, hey man, I believe in this movement or whatever it is. There's a lot of opportunity here. Let me help sponsor this. So we really appreciate your support and for doing that. And I know because of that, you're going to get some great traction in your business from that. I know that there have been several people tell me that their business just exploded after the event. They've met new people, they've taken in new students, new clients. All of their businesses have grown exponentially just from the power of networking. So I think that's the greatest thing that I think we've done.
Well, Alvin, you're officially the second person to say dope on this show. First was Clinton Sparks. So you're in good company now.
So God is dope.
Well, I want to make sure people go to the video too, because I'm going to ask a question at the end about those pictures. But to that point, you got to see Alvin's shirt. And so if you listen to this on audio, please jump over to YouTube, get on the Smart Real Estate Coach channel, and you can check out some other things as well as a question I'm going to ask him here in a few minutes. So back to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so that you cover Clubhouse, the first event. So let's just talk about what maybe the top 2 or 3 things that are happening at Clubhouse Live 2.0. Maybe why Wicked Smart listeners should head over there, and then we'll give them the link to go ahead and grab tickets.
Man, what I believe, this is going to be an event for all levels of real estate enthusiasts. So from the guy sitting on the sidelines that says, man, I'm thinking about getting in real estate. I've heard something about some wholesaling junk and how do they do that? This place is for you. I've heard guys talk about, oh, I want to own an Airbnb. Well, this place is for you. I need a mentor. This place is for you. Oh, I want to develop. Oh, we've got 5 or 6 developers that are doing big projects, hundreds of millions of dollars. This place is for you. Well, I just want to meet some super cool, dope people. This place is for you. Because I mean, and also not just around real estate. We've got guys teaching on business credit. So how do you establish yourself as a business and be able to go access bank financing, et cetera? So we've got breakout rooms on that. And it's not just another seminar or deal with people speaking and a whole bunch of velvet ropes and stuff like that, man. We are just doing a networking event where everybody gets together. There happen to be a few subject matter experts that we believe can change our listeners' lives and empower them with some things to go and change the trajectory of their families. And that's the cool part.
Yeah, I love it, and thanks for putting together this event. This is going to be awesome. Those listeners, I mean, we're running 2 workshops there, 2 breakouts, so we're excited to be there and to finally be live and in person with some people. We'll be doing live deal structuring, live scripts, talking about creative financing, and revealing some cool different exit strategies from the collaboration of other Clubhouse moderators and people that we've been able to work with now, which has been absolutely amazing. So if you're looking to grab your ticket, go to smartrealestatecoach.com/clubhouse live. That's smartrealestatecoach.com/clubhouse live. We'll include that in the show notes. Chris, I think you had some questions.
The only thing that comes to mind before I have this very tricky question coming up is, for the first time with a podcast or a YouTube video for that matter, the Wicked Smart listeners always hear us talk about creative real estate in our niche in particular with creating 3 paydays. For the first time ever, you're hearing us scream from the rooftops that you got to be at this event because there's no one of you listening that can't glean some serious value, according to what Alvin just said and what Zach's going to be presenting there. So you all, like there's no exceptions, you all need to be there, and you'll never hear me say that about one of our events because we don't go that broad. This is the event for you. So can I ask my magic question?
Magic question.
All right. For those of you on audio, you're going to have to go to the video. So without telling us what the 5 signs are behind your back, Alvin, I would like to know what is your favorite one and why on those 5 signs behind you.
Favorite one, probably right in the middle over my head.
Ideas are worth nothing. I'll only tell them that one. I won't tell them the other 4. Why?
Because if you don't act on it, it's just an idea. You don't take any action. Yeah, it was a great thought. And let me tell you a joke, but it's not a joke. I remember back in about 1996, sitting at my house in Houston. We were doing some things that weren't legal back then, you know, just laughing and talking. And one of my buddies was a business partner of the manager for Alicia Keys. And I said, what? I said, man, what we ought to do is we ought to do this deal on the beach. Man, we can go to every city and find all this talent and have a deal at the beach where Alicia Keys is the judge. And man, they can maybe do a song with her. That was my thought. And they looked at me and said, man, you're high. 2 years later, I saw American Idol on TV. And of course, Simon Cowell had already been doing it in the UK. I didn't know anything about that then. But I went and I told those guys, I said, you see, you thought I was smoking. And I wasn't. Or maybe I was, but it wasn't done. So an idea is absolutely nothing if you don't act on it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, we've all had those situations, right, where we have great ideas but no plan in order to implement it. As we go to sign off here, just because I mean you've gone through such large amounts of success, and I know you started a coaching company, the Multifamily Monopoly. So I guess first question surrounding that would be, you know, why aren't you just doing deals instead of, and maybe this incorporates doing deals, but why aren't you just continuing to do more deals instead of starting a coaching company? And then secondly, it would be, you know, describe it in that way. If our listeners want to go ahead and get a hold of you, that way they can.
Well, that's great. Well, we're not stopping to do deals to teach people how to do deals. We're doing deals and teaching people as we do deals. So our students actually get to come alongside us and develop apartment communities. Our most robust coaching program is the Build My Dream series, where I've incorporated our attorney, our tax strategists, our underwriters, our brokers, our project managers, our product manufacturers for the way we build. All of us are incorporated into this coaching program so we can walk you through from finding a piece of dirt all the way through the entitlement process, and then walking the site and building these apartments with us. So better than just the coaching program where we're going to teach you theory, we will teach all of the theory through virtual settings. We probably got about, 16 weeks or so of theory or real life scenario stuff that we'll be teaching virtually at different, it's a 12-month coaching program, and we'll be teaching that throughout the process of new apartments being built. So you'll literally get to go out on site and watch the utilities go in the ground. You'll see, what does this big drain cover go to? You'll get to see that. You'll see where your internet comes from. You'll see how the buildings are built. You'll see where your wires go when you plug something into the wall. So you'll have an opportunity to see that and get a better understanding of the process. But also it's really empowering you to see that, man, this was a raw piece of dirt when I started here. And now look at this beautiful structure that we all get to be a part of. So the education piece for me, Zach and Chris, is really educating our next partner, educating our next student, educating our next investor, so that if you know that you can do it, you're going to need somebody to help you along the way. We want to be that guy to help you get your deal off the ground. And hey, if you got access to money and we don't, then we can help you put a deal together with your money. If you've got access to to no money, but you've got a great opportunity, then we connect that a great opportunity with some other resources that we've got and build that dream. So that's what the whole education piece is about. We've got a couple of modules that I've recorded. It's about 38 to 40 modules on a self-paced course where we teach the underwriting and all of that. That's probably like an entry-level situation. And then you can go from there to a 3-day boot camp where we will take you, we teach all of the information that is in that self-paced module, but then we cap that off with a live site visit to one of our properties that we're in the process of rehabbing. So you can see the mistakes we've made. You can see the good stuff we made. You can see what we thought we were thinking when we underwrote the deal to buy it. But then you can see if did we do it? Did we follow it? Did we not follow it? Why didn't we? So we pull the curtain back on all of that and show you how we've bought deals for 6 million 5 years ago and the data are worth 33 million. And so that's the 3-day boot camp. And then the ultimate one is the Build My Dreams series where we'll walk you through full development. And this just came about, man, because, you know, we were already doing it. We were just and of course, the people around me again said, Alvin, you need to record this. You need to record it. And so I think it's all of our desire to have something that will live on beyond us. And that's what our whole foundation is based on. I want to empower so many more people to know that they can live the life they want to live through real estate, owning real estate, partnering in real estate, and building their own dreams and being great and making the world a better place and making a lot of money and doing all that good stuff.
Love it. So how can our listeners get a hold of you, and then we'll throw in the show notes?
Best way to get a hold of me is Alvin at alvinhopejohnson.com. Alvin at alvinhopejohnson.com. You can reach out to Chris and Zach at the Wicked Real Estate Coach, and those guys are my friends, so they've got my phone number. So smoke signal, put Alvin in it, I'll find it. It's all good.
Alvin, it's been an absolute pleasure, my man. I look forward to spending, looks like 3 or 4 days with you down at Clubhouse Live in Atlanta, which is August 13th and 14th for the main day. And I believe it's August 12th will be the VIP day. So go to smartrealestatecoach.com/Clubhouse Live. Go grab your tickets, and we'll see you there.
Alvin, thanks for being on, buddy.
And thank you guys so much for the opportunity to speak to your audience. I can't wait to hang out with you. I love doing relationships. That's the only way we can get where we want to go. Thank you guys for coming to be a part of my family of choice.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.